We're going to call this meeting to order. Is this too loud? Can everybody hear me?
Good.
Good? Okay. Good evening. I'm Ken Black, President of the Board of Education, Preschool 434. The public hearing is being held pursuant to KSA 72-1431 to consider the proposal to close Scranton Preschool and the District Administrative Center. The purpose of this meeting is for the board to present our proposal and to hear from patrons. The board is here to listen and allow patrons time to speak on this topic. I will quickly review the procedures for closing the building, KSA 72-1431. The 2002 legislature amended the building closure law and now allows the Board of Education to close any building at any time with a majority vote. Prior to adopting the resolution, the board must hold a public hearing on the proposal. The following is the public notice of the hearing for closing the school building. This was published in the Osage County Herald Chronicle. The Board of Education proposes to close this building to improve the school system through the consolidation of facilities and the efficient reallocation of district resources. Currently, the facility houses only a single grade level, which is preschool, and the district administrative offices. Closing the building will allow the district to better utilize staff, reduce operational costs, and integrate preschool students into a more comprehensive educational environment along other grade levels. Additionally, the district will relocate administrative staffing and the district administrative center to an existing vacant building previously utilized for this purpose, ensuring more efficient use of the current district-owned property. This proposal specifically addresses the loss of revenue resulting from declining enrollment, a challenge currently affecting the majority of Kansas school districts. The board determines that the fiscal savings realized by discontinuing the operation of this physical infrastructure will be reallocated directly to enhance student instructional programs and educational services. By prioritizing investments in students over the maintenance of underutilized brick and mortar facilities, the district aims to protect and improve the overall educational opportunities for all pupils during a period of shifting demographics. Students attending Scranton Preschool will be reassigned to the Overbrook Activity Center. At this time, I know there's been some questions asked, and Justin is going to read a brief statement that may answer some of those before we proceed with our hearing.
Can I ask if you guys introduce yourself and provide
She wants the board to introduce themselves.
Wants the board to introduce?
She wants to know your
who they are?
That's okay.
I am Faith Flores, Superintendent of Schools. I'm Amy Heisega. I represent Overbrook.
Justin Ransdale.
Karen Black.
Kylie Hastings. And Michelle Shaley.
Can we ask who this gentleman is?
This here is Amy Hill. She is our board clerk also.
My name is Eric Hill, I'm the director of the school district.
Alright. During this process, the board has been committed to ensuring a future for this school. We have tasked the superintendent with researching ideas for repurposing the school in a manner that remains beneficial to both our community and the district. We are pleased to share that Allen Community College has expressed a sincere interest in establishing northern presence for post-secondary programs to serve the surrounding region. They are genuinely excited about not only providing educational and employment opportunities for the area, but also becoming an active partner with Scranton and the school community. While this is a very exciting opportunity, we will begin more formal steps if the resolution for closure and disposition is approved by the board this evening and in the Kansas legislature. We want the Scranton community to know that we are committed to a bright and beneficial future for this facility. We will continue to communicate updates regarding this opportunity as we move forward through the process.
What was the name of the college?
Okay.
Allen Community College.
Okay. At this time, we're going to move to public address Education. We have a few people that called in that would like to speak a few words. I will ask, when somebody has the floor, please be quiet. It's kind of difficult, I hope, for me to hear. I don't know for everybody else, but please respect their time and let them have their words. So, Alyssa Lester. We have a microphone if you want.
Good evening, President and members of the USB 4-3 School Board, Superintendent, and community members. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity tonight to speak. My name is Alicia Lester, a proud graduate of the San Diego class of 2023 and co-salute for that class. I'm here to respectfully voice my concerns regarding the proposed closure of Scranton Attendance Center. I would like to begin by sharing a little bit about my history in Scranton. In the 1920s, my great-great-great-grandparents moved to this town. Since then, my family has spread throughout Scranton, and I have relatives on nearly every street. In the 1990s, the town was almost renamed Lesterville when my great-grandfather served on the city council, due to the large number of Lester's relatives living there. Today, my grandfather is the mayor, and other family members serve on the council. I share this to illustrate that I am deeply rooted in the community, and I am a part of its future. Closing a school in a small town has consequences that reach far beyond education. When a rural school district closes, or when a rural school closes, it often harms the entire community. For example, the superintendent of the Healy School District, which closed in 2011, stated, "Losing a rural school is like losing a community's livelihood. Kansas is a rural state, and rural Kansas has to be strong." Schools are hubs not only for learning, but also for employment. At Scranton Attendance Center alone, 21 staff members, not including teachers, are employed, and that this also does not include district employees, or district set-aside. Are we ensuring that every one of those retain their jobs? Beyond the staff, the local economy benefits from employees supporting businesses like Casey's, the Tavern, and the Pet Shop. Closing the school would directly weaken the economic foundation of our town. We are currently working on developing housing and growing Scranton's population. But how can we attract families when the local economy is threatened? Research, including a study conducted by the Vermont legislature, shows that when a rural school closes, property values decline, rural businesses that rely on school traffic are hit hard, and the loss of the school can begin a cycle of economic and social deterioration. I also watched the Kansas Department of Education interview that you guys can share on Facebook page, where Dr. Harper explained that school funding is not just about the numbers, it's about where the money goes to and how it affects students. This raises concerns about finding transparency, particularly regarding the discrimination of staff who travel to events such as the National School Council Year Gathering. To be clear, my concern is not the award itself, but the decision to fund travel for free employees instead of only the reward recipients. Additionally, Dr. Harper emphasizes the importance of engaging in transportation conversations. Yet, concerns from the Scranton community regarding the overcrowding were dismissed until video evidence forced a response. I would also like to question the criteria used to select the Scranton Attendance Center for closure. This building serves preschool students and district officials, and is among the more recently constructed or well-maintained facilities in the district. Closing older repair heavy buildings like Overbrook First would be a more economically responsible and community considered choice. While I do not have exact construction dates, it is clear that Scranton requires fewer renovations than Overbrook, making this closure decision difficult to justify. Furthermore, I ask for a clear, long-term plan. Decisions about closing individual schools should be part of a transparent, district-wide strategy, not a piecemeal approach. If a comprehensive 10-year plan were presented and voted on, Scranton residents wouldn't have confidence that decisions are being made carefully. Without such a plan, it feels as though Scranton is being targeted, which is deeply concerning for our community's future. In conclusion, I respectfully urge the board to reconsider the closure of the Scranton Attendance Center. Its role in educating our youngest learners, supporting our local economy, and sustaining our community's identity cannot be replaced. Please weigh these consequences carefully and ensure that your decisions reflect the best interests of our students, families, and the town of Scranton. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat there.
not as prepared as Alicia.
Hi, my name is Pat Lira. I have lived in this district my whole life. My husband has lived in this district his whole life. We raised our children in this district and now some of my grandchildren in this district. So I'm pretty familiar. And besides the fact that I'm old, I can remember the vote when we first started going to school together. In the 60s, nobody wanted one building. Everybody wanted to keep their town buildings. And so we got the Santa Fe Trail High School, and each town kept their building. In 1990, I'm not exactly sure the year we voted on it, but there was a bond issue. My husband was on the Board of Education. I'm quite familiar with this setup. I've been going to board meetings for a long time. I thought when I retired I was done. But in the 90s, we were very invested in making sure that everybody was heard. They went to every Rotary, Lions, whatever meeting that they could get to let them in, they were there. We delivered flyers, we put up signs, we were all over the place, making sure that everybody had a voice. We had town meetings, lots of people showed up, listened to what they said, and they said, we want a building in every town. We don't want to lose our identity. And so they said, okay, we'll make that commitment. We'll make that commitment. We'll build a new Scranton. We'll build onto Overbrook. I believe that's when the west end of Carbondale was added on, I believe. And so that's what they put on the bond issue. And the people said, yes, that's what we want, and they voted for it. So there was a mutual agreement there that we're going to keep that. This new school was opened in 1996-97. So in 2009, when it was made into just a preschool, that promise was reneged on, basically. But we were told that, well, we're keeping the building open so that, it has a future. And now it doesn't. The newest building, no, this isn't, but the building where kids will be educated is the newest total building in the district, less than 30 years old. Probably some of you guys aren't much older than that. A few of you are, but we are. So my question is, and I was told, well, why weren't you involved? I didn't get any notification. I just got on Scranton School 4 days ago. I didn't know it existed. I don't get school emails. I don't get on the school Facebook page or anything very much. So no, I didn't see it. My bad. But I think there's several other people that didn't see it either. So my question was, why was Scranton? I looked through. Somebody told me I need to look at the board meetings. That there's YouTubes of your board meetings. I was going through some board meetings. I didn't see all of them. I picked and choose my dates. I looked through notes. Nowhere did I see where keeping Scranton open was ever considered. Ever considered. I was told all things were considered, but I never found it. So you would have to point out to me where that was, because I didn't find it. So I would like to ask, first of all, that you consider going back to K-6 and move the junior high out to the high school. I think that's the best thing for the junior high, because right now, junior high doesn't really offer much as far as electives and things, or accelerated. By putting in with the high school's teachers, you can share teachers, you can have more opportunities for your students. It makes kind of a lot of sense. I know Council Road does it that way. I have a grandchild there. I know it's done in other places too. That's just the one I'm most familiar with. Because I would like to ask you to keep your commitment that was made. Not by you guys. You guys may have still been in diapers when that commitment was made, but it was made. if you can't, if you absolutely can't keep that commitment, but it sounds like I keep hearing we're hemorrhaging numbers, so I'm not sure why. You know, since we haven't had individual town districts, you can adjust that rural bus routes however you want. So you could pull more of this rural students into this building. So you can adjust your numbers without a whole lot of extra busing. It can be done. I don't think, it doesn't seem to me like there was that much thinking outside the box. The other thing is, was it, well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't considered, I can't find it, couldn't find it on the computer. Keeping Scranton open and making it a pre-K2, a primary school. There's primary schools in Topeka. It's a perfect size for a primary school. It's even got the little bitty bathrooms. So if you did that, and you made 3 through 6 at Carbondale, again, you can send junior high and high school out to Santa Fe Trail. Yes, that means closing Overbrook. I'm not advocating closing any school, but it's the oldest part. Part of it is the oldest. All you have to do is go into their lunchroom and figure it out. I know one of the things that says it needs to be done is abatement. Asbestos abatement in our schools. I think I saw that water pipes. I'm assuming that's under the old section. These are things that you shouldn't be having to deal with in a building this size. I know busing was a concern, but if you've seen the original triangle yearbooks from the late 60s, you'll be able to figure out which one's Carbondale, which one's Scranton, and which one's Overbrook, because it's about twice the distance from Carbondale or Scranton to Overbrook. So if you're concerned about busing, you're busing whatever kids there are at Carbondale, whatever age group you decide to put at Overbrook, you're busing them 10 miles each way. If you bus them from Carbondale to Scranton, you're busing them 5 miles each day. And I'm only using Carbondale because I do know that that is the highest population. So my question is, are you jumping into this too fast? And I know everybody says, oh, it's been talked about for years. Again, I looked back and I saw when we added, you know, I know I was still working here when we added the last 2 beauties to our district. But then I don't see much before 2022. So it doesn't look like any real big talking has been done since 2022. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's not out there easy to find if it has been. So I guess what I'm asking is that you take a little bit more time and you consider using what you have, using the resources that you have, and then maybe eventually people would pass that bond issue to put everything out of high school. I don't think it'll pass now. But if you push this down the road with, we're going to do this, either one of those with this as our goal, and show steps toward it, people might be more inclined to support you. Thank you.
Okay, Libby Thompson.
They can't hear my voice.
Excuse me?
I've got that fixed. Sorry, I think that's fixed. Early on, yes, it was echoing, but I've changed mine, so I think I've had several people report that it's better. So.
Hi, good evening. My name is Libby Thompson, and I want to start by thanking each and every one of you for your time, dedication, and service to our district. It is appreciated, and I want to make a point of acknowledging your efforts. But I am here to voice my opposition to closing the Scranton Attendance Center. First, why is the district considering closing this school or any school before even bringing the bond issue to a vote. Whether you frame SAC as being repurposed or not, taxpayers are being asked to accept the loss of a building that has been heavily invested in for probably far less than what it is worth and means a great deal to its community. This is a rather bold move and dare say heavy-handed. I also find it interesting that our textbooks, curriculum, and student supplies has a larger portion of our budget than buildings, grounds, and maintenance, including utilities, especially when the argument is that we can't afford to operate all of these buildings. Over the last 5 years, our mill levy has averaged 49.66 points. Depending on what option is chosen for the reconfiguration, our mill levy could potentially increase to over 64 points. As you know, property taxes are at the forefront of Kansans' minds, especially with how high they've become, and many are calling for relief. We are already seeing the state cut millions of dollars from our budgets. The state funding formula expires July 1st, 2027, and we simply do not know what that new formula will look like. I share these points because given the current financial climate, it seems more responsible to utilize the buildings we already have in ways that best serves our students, including eliminating the 4th grade transition to Carbondale, rather than significantly increasing our mill levy at a time when both state funding and taxpayer tolerance remain uncertain. Declining enrollment is being attributed mainly to lower birth rates, but families are also choosing neighboring districts, homeschooling, or other options. Do we understand why? Are we actively asking? These families still live in our community, they're not leaving. Gaining insight to their decisions could help us strengthen our programs, improve relationships, and better support our families, making our district the clear choice. With school choice, open enrollment continuing to impact districts statewide, building and maintaining strong relationships with stakeholders is more important than ever. Instead of closing a school, let's explore alternatives, sharing administrative roles, partnering, researching grants for before and after school care, closing unused wings instead of entire buildings, and prioritizing investments in students and staff over facilities that we may not be able to sustain long term. We lack a clear, defined long-term vision. I am concerned about investing in buildings that are planned to later be sold, again, for far less than their value, potentially before these investments are even paid off. How many buildings do we intend to maintain in 10, 15, or 30 years? If the ultimate goal is to move to a single campus model, which appears to offer the most efficiencies in student success, collaboration, and cost savings, does it make sense to invest heavily in other facilities right now? Why risk leaving one community behind when we ultimately need broad community support to pass a bond issue? Please do not shut down SAC. I urge you to pause, develop a clear long-term strategic plan, and fully evaluate options before moving forward. We all share the same goal, strong schools and thriving communities. A successful USD 434 is essential to that future. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Amy, you had somebody send you a message that only had a phone number that said they would like to speak. Who's that person? Is that you?
No, but I would like to speak.
Okay, yeah, let me find out who this is first, please.
Sure.
That was me, but to be honest with you, these ladies have said everything that I would like to say anyway, and I will pass it on.
Okay.
For this at the present.
Okay, so this was you. All right, thank you. Roger, go ahead.
First of all, I would like to say that none of this is personal with any of you. This is business. And we have to look at the reasoning, and quite frankly, I've looked at this for some time trying to figure it out, and I can't figure out the reason. And I'll give you some points to ponder, and I'll go as quickly as I can. the enrollment table on the website shows the district enrollment for 2002 at 1,312 students. It shows the projected enrollment for 2025 at 896 students. That's 416 students less in enrollment. These campuses were all in use in 2002. I find confidence in saying that the district must have plenty of room for the current enrollment. That said, why is the board asking the public for more money for more building space? If the board closes Scranton and or Overbrook campuses, what happens if the declining enrollment reverses and begins to grow? Do we just ask for more bond money, more bond issues for more buildings? You also have to realize, if you close this and you sell it, it's not yours ever again. This building is the public's building. They paid for it. If the board closes Scranton and or Overbrook campuses, do you think that perhaps upset patrons will take their kids elsewhere and thus the enrollment declines further downward, and here we are stuck with a 30-year bond issue, might I add, plus interest? That's a lot of money. Moving the kids out of Scranton and or Overbrook, closing the schools, only alienates the patrons of Scranton and the Overbrook communities. Do you really want to upset one or two of the communities in your district? Do you want more discord in the community? Just in the past few years, the district has made Channel 13 and 27 for the district discord, which have upset patrons. You ready to do that again? Is this good for our communities? Is it good for our kids? Leaving the school in each community shows respect for each community. Respect for each community. These people live in Scranton, they pay taxes too. And they should have the right to have their children here in their town. What are you proposing to do is being perceived as disrespect for the patrons of Scranton and Overbrook patrons. When a school leaves a small rural community, that community loses its lifeblood. Look at Eskridge, Harveyville, Dover. Go look at those towns. See what happened. The community suffers, loses in many more ways. We do not have time to go over all of them right now. Homeschooling is on the rise in Kansas and many other states across the United States. School choice, with tax dollars following the students going to private schools, has been talked about for many years in the state legislature. If this happens, enrollment could decline even further. Once again, we are stuck with a 30-year debt. As for discussion and concern over student transition, students of all ages are in constant transitions of some sort. Adults are also in transition of some sort. The old saying, nothing ever stays the same, is true. Try to lessen the transition would be, in essence, be lessening our students' learning opportunities we learn from our adversities, successes, and failures. Transitions are possible avenues to adversities, successes, and failures. Any school member who is in favor of closing the school in these respective communities could easily be perceived as someone who does not understand that schools are the lifeblood of small rural communities. The last issue, bond issue for the domes, is it paid off? No, it's not. How many more years do we have left to pay on that? One more year. Circular dome-shaped buildings are good for only one thing: Wolf Creek nuclear reactors. What a waste of our tax dollars building such insufficient circular spaces. I know that's not you guys that did that. I find it hard for many patrons to swallow another bond issue after that debacle, especially since it is so fresh in their minds. Discord in the district has been prevalent in the last few years. Perhaps the board should spend more time bringing the district together than devising ways to close community schools and further divide the district. In January 14th board meeting of this year, at approximately 3:03 minutes mark of the meeting, Mr. Ramsdale made the statement that I don't think anyone in this room is going to be in the district or on the board in 30 years. That's so. Not one of the board members at the table disputed it. So it's safe to say that these current board members are asking us to commit to an expenditure of 30 years, but they will not be here to help pay for it. Can anyone on the board enlighten us as to the day and year the district officially came into existence? I lived all that. I was just a kid. 1966, July 1st. That's when this became a district. And it was ugly back then. Friends against friends, family members against family members. But this is what we got. Does anyone on the board know when the district was formed? One of the selling points was to have a school in each community. That's what they told us back then. We're going to have a school in each community. As the board members, have you consulted former teachers who spent their careers primarily in this district as asked for their input about closing schools? Folks like Gerald Fisher, folks like Bob Vonstein, Gary and Ann Blosser. What about former board members? I have a couple little notes here. I talked to a couple people that I do some things with, and we were talking about the steering committee. And two of them were on the steering committee. Both of them told me that the worst schools condition-wise, not any other way, condition of the buildings is Santa Fe Trail High School and Carbondale. The condition of the buildings are terrible. Not terrible. Not as good as Scranton, not as good as Overbrook. So why would we close down one of the best buildings that we have? If you sell this building, the folks that paid for it is going to want to know how much. What are you going to get in here? What about just leaving, you've got plenty of classrooms. What about just leaving K through pre-K, K through 6 or 7 in their hometowns? These kids can walk to school and walk home after school and not be bussed all over the country. Why do we want to close a school and then put more money into a school that's not as in good condition as this one is? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I'm not gonna, I'm gonna oppose it as long as it doesn't make any sense. Business is business. Spending taxpayers' money is business. I wasn't gonna do this, but I am gonna read something that was sent to me. Remember, this is not personal. This is not me. This is a knowledgeable person who could not be here. Boy. Faith Flory doesn't realize the board and the superintendent work for the community, not the other way around. They need to come up with a different plan than closing schools. If they close Scranton, the next step would be to close Overbrook. It's coming down the track, I guarantee you. That's where the $26 million bond comes in. We have a superintendent leading the charge of all of this who has never lived in our district, has never paid taxes in our district, and their children do not attend school in our district. Why is she in charge of this? Another thing, and I'll leave. The next thing is the last meeting that I watched. I saw where you decided to take the administrative office out of this school. Sounds like you're already figuring on closing it. So you're going to get that done first. You already voted on it. And you decided that you're going to move it back to Santa Fe Trail to a building where it once was. Where it was built for that. You spent money from that building. When you moved it over here, you spent a lot of money for the administrative office here. Now you're going to go back over there, and I heard it. You're going to remodel that. What's that going to cost? Do we know? I thank you for your time. I hope you do not do this. It's just not the right thing to do at this time. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to say?
I do. I come with a different tone than the others. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I hope you remember my maiden name, not just my married name, if you do know me. You got me? Okay. I grew up here in Scranton. I've lived here for 30 years. I lived in Carbondale for 5 years with my husband, who I'm pretty sure most of you also will recognize. It's different being back here this time. I was coached by Pat in this very gym. When I walked in here tonight, there's a smell that I recognize. It elicits a response in me. I immediately touched the floors. I used to run suicides on these floors in this building. I hated them so bad. I walked up here at 5 o'clock in the morning from my house 6 blocks away so I could play basketball. The building that you've closed, in my opinion, because there hasn't been a school in this town for 15 years. I literally helped build. I moved from the old school into this school, and I was the first 8th grade class to graduate from this building. I'm not here to relitigate this issue, or to argue that the board acted without effort or intention. I recognize this has been studied and discussed for some time. I did see the Facebook posts. I do get school emails. I get every stupid email, phone call, and text message when there's been some sort of emergency. I appreciate that, and I hate it at the same time, so thank you. I don't feel like you have any sort of ill intentions, but I have to say, Scranton being the smallest town in the district by population, and is also the lowest income base of the 3 towns. Our median household income is the lowest of the 3, trailing Overbrook by 10,000 and Carbondale by nearly 14,000. The fluff that you've put out there is lovely. I'm a hopeless optimist. I would love to see a community center. I would love to see a workforce center. I work for a National Association of Workforce Agencies, and I know what workforce centers can do for small communities. I know that I live in a food desert, and I know that there are limited income and working options for these people in this town. I have known this for 30-some years. I have grown up with the people in this town. I don't often identify with their ideals or their morals or their political views, but I share one thing with them right now, and it's a feeling of grief. I recognize there were only 3 Scranton residents on the steering committee for this. I thought about it for a minute and decided not to. And whether intentional or not, limited representation deepens the feelings that decisions are being shaped by neighboring towns, rather than by Scranton voices. Perception matters in public institutions. If people believe they are not being represented, trust erodes regardless of the process quality. We carry deep memories of being treated as the smaller boys in shared systems. As an adult, when I take my children to school functions, I still feel that feeling. Everybody who's ever met someone else from anywhere else and told them you were from Scranton, you know the reaction. I still feel that. Maybe you don't say it out loud, but I feel the energy. I know that my kids are probably looked at differently because they are from Scranton along with every other child from Scranton. You will not erase that feeling from me. The anger and sadness you're seeing is not hostility for sport, it is grief. And grief is rarely tied to your polite. Schools are civic anchors. They hold memories, routines, and community pride. Expecting calm acceptance is immediately unrealistic. Discomfort is part of governing. Leadership sometimes means absorbing the frustration that follows hard choices. I recognize you have a hard choice ahead of you. Being confronted by upset constituents is not a sign the process failed. It's a sign the decision carries real consequences. If you don't know anything about Scranton, once upon a time, we were designated as a ghost town. Again, I have lived in this town for 30 years. I've seen us flourish, and now I've seen us head back that way. Without a school in our town, in the last 15 years, it has gotten much quieter. I know folks from the surrounding towns that want to say that you accept us as your community. You do not patron our restaurants. Can you all say that you came over and ate at Teresa's restaurant while it was open? I live here and I never even went there. So to say that you have somehow built this community of all three towns, to me, is not the case. And I really wish that the picture could be different. When you make your decision, whatever it is, and I believe in my heart you know what that's going to be, what our community is going to need is time to grieve. We're going to need visible acknowledgement of the loss of both times, from the time they took our school and moved them and dispersed them into other towns, and from this time. They have to grieve this feeling of hope that this was going to come back, that someday our community was going to be whole again. As I spoke about growing up here, I spent 7 years, kindergarten through 7th grade, 8 years, whatever that is, I don't do math in my head, in the old school building. The contractors who built this new school took me and my best friend out for lunch at the tavern in the cafe here in town. It was an awesome experience as a child. I can tell you exactly where every time capsule is placed in the building of this building. I have bricks from the old building. I hoped that someday my children would get to go to school here, but that wasn't the case, and that's fine. But when this decision stands, how you walk with this community afterward will matter so much more than the decision itself. Scranton may be the smallest town in the district, but it's not small. It's not a small community in spirit or in history, and we can all do better. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else have anything?
I was told that I wouldn't be respected because I didn't dress up as nice as Alicia, and I hope that's not true. But everybody's got something going on in their life. And I sit in front of this board and I watch you all listen, and I know that nobody on this board lives in Scranton. You may have a Scranton address, but you didn't grow up here. I also know enough information to go Harper Valley PTA, but I won't. What I do know is I've sat across the table from you discussing your policies and your research, and you didn't know what policy related to others and how they contradict each other. What I know is in this information, not once has anybody seen what it would cost to upgrade Scranton to keep it in function. But we have published on the district website that it would cost $1.6 million to abate Overbrook for asbestos. That the plumbing in Overbrook needs to be redone and the bathrooms need to be replenished. That the windows are leaking and there's water damage in the gym. I have members who worked in the lunchroom at Overbrook that say it's pathetic. That kitchen isn't functioning. It can't feed the kids that are there now. You say this kitchen doesn't work, but everything was scrapped out of this kitchen to save money to fix the other schools. So that's a cost that should be considered as well. Nothing has been published about the cost that it would take and what options were out there to keep Scranton running. It has been to keep the Santa Fe Trail High School going, Overbrook High School, and Carbondale going, Carbondale High School, but never once have you guys presented a valid option to keep Scranton open. And you want to come up and talk about accountability and transparency, and you're not giving it to this town. You're not giving it to this community. And yes, this is the smallest town. It is the smallest income. And as a single mom, I can't make it to all the school board meetings. I can't do all the stuff that needs to be done all the time and handle everything else in life. But we see the notes, we get all the emails, we get everything else. And nothing in it includes a fair view at what it would take to keep this school open. That's all I have.
My name is Ken Silver. I've lived here all my life. I went to from kindergarten through 8th grade in the old building. My first basket in a game was there. My mom cheerleader here, she's 89. My dad played basketball here. He passed away at age 87. And my grandmother played basketball here. And she was born in 1916. So I have a lot of family ties here. I understand it's difficult to make these decisions because it does affect everybody. And I know there's a lot of emotional ties. My concern is on saving money. How are you going to get the school district out of the basement on your proficiencies in mathematics, reading, English, language? The school district used to be above the state. I looked at the proficiencies. Now we're way below. You said you need money to pay teachers. I get that. But how come we have like a 27% proficiency? You know, what's being done to get our kids at above the standards? 17% of the kids in the district are at or above the median for mathematics and reading. You know, we can build new schools and everything, but it's like, can we get our kids back to reading, writing, above the standards? Explain that to me. How are you going to get us out of the basement? How is getting rid of this school going to get our children out of the basement proficiency? Explain that. I think these people deserve an answer. You know, maybe the decline in people wanting to come here, if they do the research, go, dang, they're towards the bottom. But maybe get your standards up, work with the kids, teach them what they need to be taught, help them, and get them at and above that proficiency. Maybe more people want to come here. You know, people are getting taxed out. We want to add more money. Like I said, I've lived here all my life. I bought a house here in 2004. My property tax was $1,000. Now it's $6,000. You want all this, I get that. this community can't afford it to keep going up. Make us proficient for all the people here. People want to get out of Topeka because of the crime and everything else. Get with the communities. How can we grow the district? Make it appealing. Make it a place where people want to have their children educated. Get the proficiencies up. You know, that's when I looked at those proficiencies, it really got to me. Didn't realize it. We used to be in the 65%. Now we're in the 20s. I know a lot's happened, but there's a lot we can blame it on. But what are we doing now to get us out of this? It seems to be stuck there. I haven't seen the 2025s. But it's something to consider before you think about closing the school. People want their children educated. That's all I gotta say.
Would anybody else like to speak at this time?
So, as many of you know, I graduated high school with an associate's degree. And in that, I graduated from Allen County, so they are near and dear to my heart. Yet now, we have students who are seniors in high school getting to go to Emporia State, and those credits are going to automatically transfer. All of the kids taking Allen County classes, unless you get that degree, you don't know if they're going to transfer to a college or not. So what happens when Allen County comes back into the county, they can't do that anymore. So you're not only taking away education in this building, but education from a four-year university that's going to transfer and that's going to have a larger income, larger impact on their education in general. So how are we going to combat that? Because that's a great resource to have, is allowing them to go to Washburn and Emporia to take classes. How are we going to combat that? Because I'd rather have classes at Emporia that would transfer rather than spending my entire high school career busting my butt to get a degree so that they would all transfer. Didn't think about that? Also, where would the new pickup location for Scranton students be? Because this isn't a school anymore, it's not regulated, anyone can come here. There's no staff. Who's going to watch those kids? You expect the parents just to stay here? They have to work. Also, the school summer lunch program. That is a very utilized resource in our community, especially here. Where is that going to be held? Are they going to be expected to ride their bike to Carbondale? Also, did you guys know how many people in our district are below the poverty line? 566. That's 10% of the district's population. We're not thinking about how the taxes are going to increase and that's going to cause more people to go below that poverty line? These are all questions, so are we not having responses from you guys?
I'm happy to respond. I also was very close to getting my associates when I was in high school, and all of my credits transferred. My aunt worked for a different organization through the state of Kansas to actually align some of those so that more would transfer. She currently works for our district. But they're looking at aligning that more and more all the time.
Yes.
So to answer that part of your question.
Yes, they are aligning those more and more. But not every single class is going to transfer.
Sure. I also took a class at KU that didn't transfer to Washburn, though.
I mean, that was...
It happens all the time across universities. It's not specific to a community college.
But if someone's going to go to Washburn and Emporia, because I'm just saying because those are near where we are located, why would they not want to drive to that campus and take that class when it's going to be there already, when they're gonna plan to go there after they leave here?
For me, it was because it was cheaper. I'm sure everybody has their own reasons, but just to have dialect and response if you're wanting a response.
And then also, have you guys compared the jumpstart prices for each college and compared it to Allen County? Because from the numbers from what I paid for Allen County and what people are paying for that jumpstart program is a lot cheaper than what I paid for Allen County. Have we compared those prices?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking. Because we wouldn't be responsible for Allen County.
Correct, but it's more of a standard of how your students are going to, and how the families can afford to pay which college level classes their kids can take. And from what I've seen, Emporia has offered cheaper classes for high school students than Allen County.
I luckily haven't had to look at college classes for a while.
But I mean, I feel like as if that is a great program and resource in our district that we can allow for students to take dual credit classes, and we're just going to throw it away if Allen County comes here because they claim the county.
I think post-COVID, the expectation of brick and mortar for community college is unrealistic. And unless they've given money to the district saying, if you want to do this, this is the enrollment we have, they couldn't keep Burlingame open. They closed it, and on the back roads, it's just as accessible to Topeka as anywhere else. So Allen County coming here does not seem realistic at all.
Thank you.
The answers to about our summer meal program, what your thoughts are. I'd like to know what your concept for how this busing to other schools is going to work when there is no personnel at this building. And it's going to be confusing. So where would we drop off? Who's going to be responsible for them? Those are all questions I don't know. And so far, I've not been able to get them.
Yes, I do. I think we need to respond.
There will be a variety of operational decisions that are going to have to be made about transportation, food service. You are correct. We have not logistically gone through all of those based on we don't have a current resolution at this time. There's not been a decision made to close this. No different than the Allen County opportunities that we have. It would be unwise for us to sit here and make promises about what exactly Allen County is going to offer when we are in initial infancy conversations with them. I think it's a very exciting opportunity for this community, for not only our students and our patrons here to utilize Allen County in a partnership with the school district, but also employment. So I would like to give you lots of information. I just think it's going to take a little bit more time once we know the direction the Board of Education wants to go, and they task me with making sure that we have all those logistics and operational things in place, scheduling bus pickups, operations for preschool to move over to Overbrook. All of those things will have to be obviously considered and decisions made. So you are correct. I wish I had more answers for you at this time, but I know in other towns we do bus stops. I know Allen County has mentioned many things about wanting to partner with our community and our school district on the use of this facility, as well as their capacity here to offer courses to our high school students, which would probably serve more students than we currently have right now, and that decline. So I'm thinking very optimistically about what Allen County can still provide as a school and educational setting for this community, even though it's not PK through 12. So at this time, I don't want to pretend that I have all those answers for you in those operational questions that you have, but I do believe I have a great group of administrators, a great Board of Education that will help guide me and work with me on all of these decisions. And I know even on our steering committee, we talked a lot about all those things. Where does this go? Where does that go? How do we do this? How do we do that? We have a ton of conversations around those things in our steering committees about many of the options that have been presented for reconfiguration. And some of those are unknown until we know what direction we're actually going to go. There's been no decision made on a bond. There's been no decision made on school closures at this time yet. So that is what I know as of right now.
It seems concerning that this meeting is titled about the Scranton school closure. And we come here with concern about our community, and you just flat out said that you have not taken into consideration the effects that the summer school lunches and all of those things would have on the school.
I didn't say I hadn't taken it into consideration. I said I just don't have a definitive plan or answer to give you based on if this board decides tonight to close this school, there is a process then that goes a right to refusal to the Kansas legislature. They have to then sign off on that. Before any of that happens, there is not even a permissible pass to sell this to Allen County. So I don't think it's wise for me to sit here and tell you exactly what the plan is when there are other steps that still have to take place, one of which the board has to decide whether or not they're closing and disposing of the building, which is 2 resolutions. So it's not that I don't want to tell you we haven't talked about these things, because we have talked about school meals. We have talked about all those things, but I don't want to stay here in a public forum and make promises that aren't guaranteed until there are 3 or 4 other decisions that have to be made. But yes, we've talked about busing. I talked to Mr. Madden the other day, correct, Robbie? We've talked multiple times about this in steering committees. We've talked about food lunch program here. We brought breakfast this year to our preschoolers. I very much care about all of those things, all of these children here. I've spent 22 years of my career here, and I'm determined to make sure all of those things are good and in place for our students.
No offense, but how is it that we are supposed to trust whatever Board of Education says when in 1968 they promised that each one of us would remain out of school, that at least for 3 years. 2009, they moved our whole district out, all our kids except preschool. That's why they built this. That didn't happen. So how is it that you expect us to believe anything that the school board tells us? Because I'm having a little tough time with that. And nobody wants to answer that.
I would like to answer that. I wasn't alive in 1968, and so I don't know the promises. To be truthful, I don't know the promises that were made then. I know that we're in a very different time than we were then. I couldn't begin to go back and look at all the meetings, and nor do I even know if we have minutes from that far back to know the promises that were made then. But I can tell you that each and every one of us are doing the best that we can for our students in the district now.
You are absolutely right. The time now that we're in is not anywhere near what it was in 1968. And most of the families in the school district come from 2-parent working households, at least 2. And how is this comfortable at all to sit here and discuss like the closing of a school, and there is no clear plan that you can give us at this moment about what's going to happen with these kids, busing them to Overbrook or Carbondale or the high school. Parents cannot sit here out in their car. Is that what is expected? They're gonna have bus pickup somewhere, a stop in town. Are they expected to? I mean, I'm just kind of baffled.
There should be
more than
kids on
can.
the floor of buses, and that was acceptable to the school board to sit us on the floor, our kids on the floor, to transport back and forth on buses.
That was never something that was brought to our attention.
It was because it went to the news, and then we got extra buses. So there is not a concern, and if you have a transparency, if there is a plan, all we're asking for is publish that plan. Put it out there. If you have something to show, maybe you'll ease people's mind by actually showing the transparency. But you're not. You're not showing the numbers to keep Scranton open in any of your published information, any of your previous meetings. You're not having a conversation to keep Scranton in the loop. It's always the other 3. Nobody here wants to see Overbrook closed either. That's not why we all came here today. But that's what all the minions on Facebook want to put on, is that it's just everybody's against town. There is no transparent information that you guys have actually looked into the cost of opening Scranton up and refiguring to keep a school active in this town. And none of you sitting on this board have anything to do with this town. So no, nobody here has faith in that decision because you're not being transparent.
In Dana's defense, when she said 1968, I think you left out 1997 also. When that other promise. Yeah, when that other promise was made. So that's less than 40 years. And you know that there's already rumblings. Scranton people are unhappy. I don't have any kids anymore. Love to. Whoa. But there's already rumblings. Look at the burning here. So you think your numbers are hemorrhaging now?
Test scores are better than there.
You know, I don't know, but know that people are angry. People feel left out. And so that's the, you know, there's been conversations made, what does it take to get a vote to change districts?
Talk about costs. ESU is half price of our county. Just so everybody knows, they are half price of our county.
So if they put out and it doesn't succeed, they don't know.
I know, but that's their cost. So it is half.
Well, this is just.
And I would say that, okay, they're trying to promise us that we will have a great workforce program here, which I think would be wonderful. I think that is a great thing. But I will say, if we go back in history, you guys declined agreement with Allen County. And then Allen went to Burlingame. After Allen went to Burlingame, they found out that there was not enough students there to keep them going. That's why they went to all internet. They left this facility that they already had, that they can't have workforce there. You guys have already said no to them once. They have left our Osage County already. So I don't see that as a positive whatsoever.
I just feel like you guys are even what I can just vote out in regards to, you know, anything brought up. Nobody else. One person with that entire, nobody else is voted. So, why is it?
When are you voting on this? Well, are we gonna be voting on it like right now?
No, not right now.
So,
Possibly at our regular meeting.
That's a meeting.
This is the hearing that we're having for this, and then when this is adjourned, we're gonna have our regular meeting following this, and we have an agenda item to discuss it at our regular meeting.
okay.
But not now during this hearing. Does anybody else have anything, any comments at this time?
My name is Melinda Barnes. My 3 daughters went to school. My husband and I moved to Scranton in 1997. I've lived in this town for that long, and I can guarantee you, most of these people don't even know who I am, because I am an introvert, and I hate public speaking. I do not waste my words on things that I do not think are concerning. This is concerning. When my neighbor comes to me to ask me to come somewhere, and I see another neighbor here, this is concerning. I think you have all heard enough from the people who have lived here longer than me, have gone to this school, to realize that your vote should be put off before you do more research. You need to research the community. First of all, I'd like to know how many of you have business degrees. Who has a business degree among you? I rest my case right there. I don't think you guys have really put the research to make this vote. This community has been devastated in the time that I've been here. I don't know what it was before, but I know that the stigma, because my kids have felt it, you've heard it in people here, and it does cause problems in the schools. And doing this decision without the research that you flagged, just by hearing, and your non-response, is telling me that you're rushing this and you haven't given it the consideration that it really should be given. You are impacting a community. You are impacting you're impacting Santa Fe Trail. It can backfire and you can lose more students. Burlingame's just down the way. How many will go there? These people, from what I've heard, just observing, feel defeated, they're angry, they're upset, because whenever anything happens, Scranton is the one that takes the punishment. And this is just me observing things over the years. This has nothing to do with anything else. I think you guys are rushing into this for whatever reason, and I understand you have concerns about, and you have budgets and stuff like that, but I really don't think that you have given the research that this really deserves. And I think you need to step back and put the vote off, do more research, and I think you need to make it a little more clear to the people of Scranton what exactly your plans are. You don't know. Topeka is moving out. People don't want to live there anymore. They are coming south, north, wherever they can go. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Carbondale ends up in 10 years, 15 years, a suburb of Topeka. So you may have more people coming in the years, in future years. I don't think you've given it a long-term plan. And I think you need to do that. I think you need to work with the city of Scranton to make other options for the building if you do plan. If it's inevitable, fine. But I think you need to do more research on how to save the community that you think that you want to help, because this is not doing it, and it's been said. And people are not happy with the decision, and right there should give you pause. Pause to even vote on it tonight. Because if you have unhappy people, that means you're not doing your job. And the fact that you guys don't have business degrees except for one, you need to maybe look at outsourced people to help you make the decisions. And that's all I'm going to say.
Anybody else have anything at this time?
I just have a few numbers to throw out real quick, just so you guys are aware. This is from Casey's in Scranton. In 2009, when we merged, when this building lost K through 8th grade, Casey's reduced their per capita by 22%. Then when we lost our summer ball teams, like our summer rep, through the summer months, we lost 11%. So what happens when this reduces? Have we thought about that? We might not have a Casey's. Economic.
I would really like to see an impact. You guys say that you've done these impact studies. I don't see you've done talking to people and really research. Was you aware that Casey's lost that kind of business in this town? Was anybody aware of that figure right here? Absolutely. But guess what? We felt it. Because we didn't get enough rated Casey's, like over Harvard and Berlin. We
I'd like to say, I don't want our silence to be mistaken for lack of research, because we have poured a ton of time and effort into this. Pardon?
You're not sharing.
Well, we've shared it in our public meetings that have been open for years. And you're giving us the history, but I don't know if there's been recent history with that, because years this has been talked about, and we've been inviting public, we've had town hall meetings, and so I just feel compelled to say that out loud, that we have had town hall meetings, we have invited people, we wanted people to be involved, we wanted the community's voice involved in this. And I think that's important to know. That's why the steering committee was developed. That's why we've done all of these things. Our district has been reconfigured, what? 3 or 4?
And no offense, but in a town
3.
reconfiguration, who has spent money through the Scranton?
So,
Tell me what Cardinal has ever lost other than having their kids bus. Tell me what Overbrook has ever lost other than having their kids bus. I'd like to know, because I haven't heard about any of that.
I wasn't on the board then. I'm talking about right now. And so I'm, trying to move forward, because I don't have any influence on what's happened in the past.
But we're reading how to suffer that already, and what decisions you make is going to affect us, I think.
You asked why we weren't answering your question, so I was attempting to do so. But I will say that there's been a ton of research done, a ton. And no, I don't have a business degree, but we are all intelligent people.
But it's not
But you don't have any answers either.
Pardon?
You don't have any answers either. You've done all the research, but you don't have any resolutions.
We don't have any resolutions because we've not voted on anything yet.
Okay, but you haven't even considered apparently what possibly could happen with our summer meal program. You can't even give us possible answers for what's going to happen with the busing situation with our kids. But yet, you're ready to vote on it. You can't make those decisions until after you make. That's BS.
I will respectfully interject in the fact that you say there were town hall meetings, but as far as I'm aware, there was no notice that went out to the citizens of Scranton about a town hall in this town. Because like they've mentioned, they're not on the blast for school district website. The mayors have never been contacted about the possibility of this happening. The board's never reached out to the city that he's aware of to have it discussed. So
how would you like for us to communicate?
Well, apparently Facebook, everybody.
Well, this is a legitimate question. How would you like, because we do emails, calls, text
So
messages.
not everybody lives in the digital age.
So how
And
would
so
you-
there's newspapers, there's public bulletin boards, there's city council meetings that you can attend as a part of a representative of the school to say, hey, this is a possibility. Those branches haven't been outreached here. They haven't been extended on this side. So I will admit my naivety, but I assume everything is in the best interest for the communities, and that was wrong on my part. And I will do better going forward. But you can't say that Facebook is going to cover all. Because as you said, there's been many generations covered here, and not all generations use Facebook or social media platforms. So don't throw it back on us, and how would we like you to? We would like you to have the forethought to communicate with your whole community.
Right.
The newspaper, city council meetings, Facebook posts, phone calls. We have a representative from the newspaper here tonight. So I don't want to get into an argument with you about it. That's the facts.
It was a meeting.
They were.
But there hasn't been a town hall here.
Yes, there has.
There was a town hall here, ma'am. There was 2 town halls.
Or mail letters. The majority of the non-involved.
Let's not get off track, folks. Let's not get off track. Does anybody have a comment about the closure of the school? Communications is a separate issue. Lunch programs is a separate issue. Transportation in the future is a separate issue. This hearing is about the closing of the school. If we have any more comments about that, please do so now. If not, we're going to move forward.
Why do you think that isn't about the closing of the school? Those are just two major things. School program, or the school
can't hear too well.
I just want to say, I have been on the council, mayor, for the last 3 years. I haven't heard anybody come to the council or ask us about the utilities, and that's all I hear about is how high our utilities. From my perspective, and I know a couple of other councilmen that's on board with it, we want to work with the school to make something work for everybody. But I just seen it the other night on Facebook again, exposing that it costs too much to run over here. Well, nobody's got checked into it that I've ever. I know when they first built this building, it was kind of high up there too, but I know it's got a lot higher since. But that's something that you could have come to a meeting or had somebody come in and ask the city how they work out on the utilities. But I heard about it, I seen it on the thing, so I just bring it up. There is some on the council that is willing to work a little bit, trying to work with the whole town on it right now. We've got other issues going on, but it's something that is negotiable to a point. We don't have a whole lot of room to play with. It's one of the things, I'm sure they'd rather lose a few dollars on their account than to lose a school.
Would this be something we could be willing to take to be technical council meeting to see if we can come up with a different idea where an advertisement for a county meeting is this something we want to table and get a better see if something fits?
The last time, all I knew of was when I first got on the council, and we came down here to school, you guys had a special meeting for that to see when you first talking about trying to figure out what to do with school. And that's the only one I've ever heard. I'm not here, I'm always working. I don't know what to tell you on how to get a hold of people, but that's why I haven't been around that one. I'm busy all the time, unless you put it like on the cities. Everybody's got their own page now, they have like some information, I don't know. But I haven't heard having a special meeting over schools, don't generally go to board meetings, 'cause I know what it's like when you get one people. Oh, there's not. But
Thank you, folks. At this time, we're going to adjourn this hearing. I'd like to take a 5-minute break. If you use the restroom before we open our regular meeting. Thank you all for coming.
Bait needs to be warm.
Some kind of humidor.
Well, it's, we got a lot of stuff going on. Bait needs another 5 weeks.
Okay.
Is it, I don't know if it's that or the tax system.
Okay, folks, we're going to open our regular board meeting at this time. At this time, I'd like to call our meeting to order. Okay, ordering approval of agenda. Amy, we have an add to the consent agenda. And we also have an add to the report, correct? Okay. Does anybody have anything else you'd like changed?
Motion to approve is amended.
We have a motion to approve. Second, all in favor? Okay. 3.0, HTK. Nothing.
Stephanie's face. Stephanie has to. Stephanie, can you hear us? Maybe to see you.
Just a verbal class.
I'll call her. Everything on our side.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Stephanie is now with us. All right.
I've been with you this whole time.
Okay, so we need to. Stephanie, we need to backtrack. So we did all that. We had a motion and a second for the consent
All in
agenda.
favor of what? I'm so sorry.
The consent agenda.
Continue the meeting?
The consent
Consent
agenda.
agenda? Yes, I approve.
Approval of the
Consent agenda?
I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The approval of the agenda.
Yes.
You got that down? Okay. All right, that takes us to 3.1, HTK Architects. You're here?
All right, so thanks for having us back. It's been a few months since we were here. We provided some information to you previously that is a summary of where we've been. And tonight we're really here just to answer questions and to listen from you if there's more things that we can do or provide more clarity in the information that's been provided.
We had a discussion at our last meeting in regards to the 2 versus 3 campuses. I provided you with a couple of questions and deliverables. We asked to kind of review the 3 campuses again. We had a couple board members that wanted to look at that. And then we also wanted some considerations on the costs of deferred maintenance and projects that were needed in all of our schools outside of new construction or remodeling for the 2 or 3 campuses. So in eliminating that piece of it and looking at deferred maintenance total costs and removing those pieces. So I think that's what our deliverables were, correct? Okay, so I'll let you guys explain a few of those things, and then you guys can ask questions.
So on page number 12, that one has the 3 campus options, and where it's looking at specifically the deferred maintenance at each of the buildings. That's, I think that's the whole presentation. Did you get, is this the one that we sent yesterday?
Is that the new one I sent you today? The edited? Should be. Does that not look right?
No, sorry. But that one, we can use that slide, that'll work. So if we were to look at each of the buildings, the Overbrook deferred maintenance is about 1.2 million, Carbondale was 2.5 million, and Santa Fe Trail High School is 11.8. So if it's looking at the cost of deferred maintenance just at each of those buildings. Some of the difference between this slide, this was a previous slide from earlier presentations, and why those cost difference from the 8 to 13 million depends on how many improvements you're doing at the high school. Some of the things like the band room and the undersize of the band room, if you're including that or not including that in the scope of work, or if you're considering that deferred maintenance or not, is where that difference comes out between now looking at the 15 million, which is what was in the latest presentation.
So the deferred maintenance for Carbondale, Overbrook, and high school.
I'm as high as I can before I get to that meeting.
Is 15.5. 15.5. I can move closer. Maintenance, but it's also looking at programmatic, so that number does include the band room.
Did you want the band included in that, or do you want that out? All the construction and remodeling out?
I probably didn't phrase my question well. I think my big focal point was the foundation on the east side there, by the offices, the sagging there, the safe, and the counselor rooms. I mean, those are what I was looking
Those
at here.
specific line items?
I think I sent the line
Yes,
items to you.
so there was a slide for that one. It was 16 in the last presentation.
You said page 16.
Yeah. It's titled estimate, and it's after the building plans.
On that page 16, did that include the junior high out there as well, or was that just the foundational?
That was just the foundational repairs.
Okay, yeah.
We pulled that information out.
But ultimately, that's the same wall, right? I mean, if you're
Yeah.
gonna do that repair, then as folks have talked about, as we're looking, then that's something, if you add on to that east side, you're gonna be
Yes,
getting back in there.
correct.
That was my primary question that I had, and the differences I had every answer. 2 versus 3.
16.
So I guess my thought is, if we look at a bond, right, a resolution, if it's 9 to 11, just to fix everything right now, what we need to do. But then if the plan is to get a 2-campus option long-term, 15, 20 years from now, 8 or 9 of that's going to be foundational repairs that we're already in right now. So we're going to be spending another 3 or 4 extra million 15 years from now, but going back to the same spot that we were just at, or is it necessary to do something sooner, go to a 2-campus versus 3, or fix it now? I mean, I guess that was my big question was, what's the cost if we just say fix what you have, or we have to fix now? There's a 3-campus option, and then what else needed to be done at Carbondale, wherever.
That was what?
That was 8 to 11, right?
That was just to fix that. That was what I was trying to.
Yes. From what I saw.
Get it? That's it.
If you're addressing some programmatic needs like the band room, like increasing the size of the band room, that's when it got to 15.5 million.
Yeah, that did not address the band room being, you know, what, 120 students or less compared to what we actually have in the band.
So the 15.5 did address the band?
Yes.
Okay.
It also had additional CTE in that one as well.
I'm sorry.
Additional CTE. It didn't have anything with the middle school, so it didn't have wrestling or gym.
You guys have additional CTE
Yes.
classrooms?
Yes.
Or that additional, new addition?
In the new edition, it had the CTE.
Yes, thank you, Roger. Yes, I see that. Okay. Anything you want to add? You guys have anything you want to add? Does that cover everything you want?
The only other thing that I added that we didn't have last time was the schedule of the gyms and the gym usage. That's something just for you to look at. I don't really have anything to note, but just on the schedule you can see, diagram that information on which gym is used in what way to help to see that overlap.
Anything else you want to hear? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yep, thank
Thank
you.
you. I'm sorry. Okay, that brings us to 4.0 consent agenda. Anybody have any questions? Essentially?
Motion to approve is amended.
Okay, motion to approve. Second. Is this all in favor? And we need to ask Stephanie. Roll call.
Yes.
You have that, Amy? Yep. All right, thank you. Okay, 5.0, executive session legal matter. How much time do you need? And we need to invite Mr. McGee.
Right.
And Stephanie via phone.
And Stephanie via phone.
Shut her off here and I'll call her.
Make sure that we invite her via phone. Mr. McGee.
Roger, number.
Okay.
Mr. President, I move we go into executive session to consult with board attorney pursuant to the exception for matters which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the gym at 8:12 with Faith Lori and Greg Goheen present and Stephanie Ganger via telephone.
Okay, we have a motion. Second right here. All in favor? Stephanie?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. executive session to 8:30. All in favor?
Why not?
We're back in session. Thank you for waiting. Andy, do you have Stephanie back here with us?
She has, not
Hope so?
she should be.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that brings us to personnel report. Do you have anything that you need to add to this? Does anybody have any questions for this? Yes, no? What? I don't need any.
If you do, you can. If you need one, call her.
Need 5 minutes? Okay. We need 5 minutes for executive session to discuss personnel.
Mr. President, I move we go into executive session to discuss personnel pursuant to non-elected personnel exception under COMA, and the open meeting will resume and begin at 8:36 with Faith Forty present, Gang present via telephone.
Okay, we have a motion. Second, all in favor?
Yes.
personnel report, I want to remove and vote heavily on the approval for Carrie Gregoire's transfer. So the other recommendations from employment and personnel, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so we have a recommendation to approve employment and personnel minus Carrie Gregoire's transfer. A motion here, and a motion, a second here. All in favor? Okay.
Yes.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation to transfer for Carrie Gregoire.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second here. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, 7.0 administrators. Mrs. Gold, you look like you want to go first. You're reaching for your computer. Okay.
You guys can come up here if you like. Oh, you have a mic. Oh, please sit.
All right, is this good? Okay, board goal 4 for us this month was community involvement, and it talks a lot about how we communicate with our families. So for us at Overbrook, we use our Facebook page, classroom newsletters, my building newsletter, district newsletters that come out from the superintendent to share all of our important information, celebrate success, and keep our families informed. We also have really been trying to recognize staff and community members through some of these so that we can share that information with families. And then we have talked previously in past meetings about how, like when we would have people come for our district-wide site council, sometimes it's overwhelming with all the different facets of communication. So we had talked in a previous board meeting about looking into Parent Square as a primary communication piece, so that we are able to just have that one faucet where you can go and find all of the information. So we're hoping that will streamline our message. And then I talked a little bit in here about our steering committee meetings that we had in all of the buildings and allowing for that open dialogue and community input. And then it talks about partnership with communities. Our biggest partnership is Overbrook Parks and Rec. They use our facilities for a lot of components, summer camp, Overbrook basketball, volleyball, all of those pieces. And then we always distribute community flyers so that our students can get into sports and then sign up for like the OPR summer camp. And that is a lot of our things. And then we'll hit Charger of the Month. I have one little Charger of the Month. We got the pre-K through 5 student. Her name is Lillian Williams. If you went to the wrestling, she was our rookie wrestler of the year at Tournament of Champions. So she got to go out and present to the Hall of Famers, so that was super exciting for her. But when Miss Lori came over and read all about her friendship, her kindness, her ability to love and care about everybody, regardless of boy, girl, older, younger, just that true passion to be a good friend. Fun fact just for today, I told her I was going to talk about her here today, and she said, I said, what'd you tell your brother? Because now you also got Charger of the Month. And she goes, he lied. He said he got Charger of the Year, and I'm like one lower. And I said, that is not true. So we had to call him out on his fence, but she's a great kid. Questions?
Well, at CIC, we've got a lot going on in the last month. The big news of the week was last week we had our spelling bee, the county spelling bee. We sent 2 representatives from Carbondale, the county spelling bee, and our Amberlyn Thompson won the county spelling bee. So she will be moving on to the state spelling bee in Salina. Next month? March. Come in next month. So that's kind of big news. Did make that change with dismissal procedures, and that has seemed to have gone very well. I think you look at the communication goal, that was one of my things with making a change like that mid-year, really worked at communicating with the community, talking to the neighbors around the school, and made that change. And so far, after day 2, it seems to be working very, very smooth, so hopefully that continues. 5th grade's enjoying Starbase. We did have a CAC family night last night. Had the book fair open last night. They did very well at the book fair. It was great to see parents come in with their kids, pick up books at the book fair. We had some bean bags and some blow-up chairs in the gym. They sat down and read with their kids. It was kind of cool, kind of fun to see. So, Charger of the Month, we had 3 Chargers of the Month this month. We had the classified Charger of the Month, Heather Sage. She's a para for us there, does a great job. Very quiet, just kind of sneaks around the school. You don't really see her, but she does a lot for us. She's great with kids. She comes in every morning and cleans up our lounge for us. Cleans up the coffee pots, makes a new fresh pot of coffee. And Faith was telling me that she goes, that's because I can't stand the mess. But she's a great person. Jason Duncan was a Charger of the Month of our teachers, and Jason just does a great job. He's coaching right now. Plus he's just doing all the PE classes, and so I think you can see the picture of Jason. He's there with all his class. They all jumped in the picture with him, so that was fun. And then we had a 4th grader, Orlin Thompson, another student out of Miss Gregoire's class. She's kind of got a little club going there this year at Chargers of the Month. A great kid. A lot of write-ups on how nice she is, how kind she is, and how hard worker. So it was a big Charger of the Month for us.
All right, athletics and activities at the junior high. We've got a lot going on. FBLA participated in districts on January 29th. We did really well there. We had 3 students finish in 3rd place in their respective categories. 2 students finished 2nd, and we had 1 student finish in 1st place in their category at FBLA districts. Boys basketball is winding down. 8th grade is currently 3-6 and is in 5th place in the league. Our 7th grade has a big game tomorrow. They're at 8-1 right now in 2nd place, only behind Burlington, which is who they play tomorrow. So that'll be a big game tomorrow at CAC. Come out and support our junior high boys. Their league tournament is next Saturday. 8th grade will compete at Iowa. 7th grade will compete at Wellsville. And then next Thursday, we still need 1 more volunteer to help out with Scholars Bowl. So if anybody would like to be a moderator or judge, you know who to go to.
Well, at the high school, we never seem to slow down. Coming along with the athletic season, kind of carrying on from Austin's. Coming up to the end of the season, a lot of preseason play. Our teams are doing very well, very proud of what we're accomplishing this winter. Kind of just moving on from the success we saw in the fall and moving through the season really well. So please come out and catch some events before we start hitting postseason play, and then join us for that as well. In terms of our board goal 4 with the community involvement, without being redundant, we do a lot of the same things as OSC and CAC or the elementary and junior high. However, I do want to point out that with community involvement, I do believe that the high school has seen an increase. So I'd like to say that the community has come out and supported us and demonstrated the involvement and the support, and I really appreciated that. I want to highlight kind of what we did in the fall in terms of homecoming with one of the largest events that we have hosted. And then looking at all these sporting events that people have come out for, anything that we have going on in terms of activities like the music pool. I've been very pleased with community involvement, so obviously communication is getting out, and we're trying to make some personal connections with everybody that we can so that they can support our students and we can see what our students have to offer and reach their fullest potential. Chargers of the Month. So I'm very pleased with who we selected as a student. Celebrating this young man. Got a freshman, Clayton Lang. Had so many positive things written about him. He is a sweet kid. Does not know a stranger. It's like his duty to make sure that you are having a good day. And if he thinks you're down, he's going to come up and talk to us. So very, very impressed with Clayton. Very pleased that he got Charger. And then on the staff side, a new addition to our staff this year, it was Rose Hurlett, our math teacher. Very great addition to our team at the high school. She came right in, and we talk about value added. She's been able to jump in and support the math department and students and do some very impressive things, and has been a great addition to us, like I said. And I do want to give one more kind of little thing, a little plug for our juniors. This is the ACT month for us, so junior
I would like to talk on behalf of Scranton Attendance Center. I've got actually Julie Ford in here tonight, so she wants to add anything she can. I don't think she wants to, but she can maybe. So for community involvement, I think their preschool's done an excellent job of engaging our families and our community surrounding us. We've had great connections with our community and activities we've done here. We are going to have another music concert for our preschoolers. We had probably 400 people in this gym last spring, even when it was pouring down rain, so we're going to do that again. Our enrollment process is trying to get a little bit more thorough in how we bring students in, and our screenings have really helped with that. We have 6 screenings that we do for our birth to 5-year-olds at the preschool. We do 6, 7 a year. I think we have a big one in the summer as well. So that's a great way for us to engage with our future coming to preschool and help us gauge where we're at in our numbers and enrollment, so that's been really good. They also enroll online now. They used to not do that in the past, but we actually have them enroll online and go through that process with us, so it helps us roll them over into the next school year. And obviously, one of the board goals is about engaging parents in that enrollment process to make those pieces valuable. And then Julie puts out a newsletter every month. They still communicate on Seesaw. We, what else, Julie? There's a lot. Any others? Okay, that's pretty good. I think that was a good list. Okay, that's for the preschool. So, and we did not charge with the month for this month. It was over there for PK3. So, congrats.
Carrie, did you have anything tonight, or are you good?
Unless you guys have any questions.
Anybody have questions? Okay. Thank you, everybody. All right. Okay, 9.1, adopt resolution, Scranton Preschool and DAC Center to close. Justin, resolution?
Whereas Kansas law KSA 72-1431 authorizes the Board of Education of any unified school district to close any school building by majority vote of the board, and whereas Unified School District number 434, Osage County, Kansas, timely published notice of and held a public hearing on the 11th day of February 2026 to hear and consider testimony and evidence on the proposed building closure, and whereas the Board of Education and Unified School District number 434, Osage County, Kansas, has found and determined that the closing of Santa Fe Trail USD 434 School and District Administrative Center would improve the school system of the Unified School District. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of Unified School District number 434, Osage County, Kansas, in a meeting lawfully assembled on the 11th day of February 2026, that the Santa Fe Trail that the Santa Fe Trail USD 434 Preschool and District Administrative Center shall be closed at the end of the 25-26 school year, adopted by the Board of Education, Unified School District number 434, Osage County, Kansas, the 11th day of February 2026.
Okay, so that is a motion for resolution. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Stephanie, would like a second? Okay.
Yep.
All in favor?
Yes.
Stephanie, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, that will bring us to 9.2. Approve to dispose of Scranton Preschool District Administrative Center property. Do not have that?
Whereas Unified School District number 434, Osage County, Kansas is a unified school district and governmental subdivision of the state of Kansas, existing by and under the authority of the statutes of the state of Kansas, and which provides educational services to the children of Osage County, Kansas. And whereas Unified School District number 434, Osage County wishes to address the loss of revenue resulting from declining enrollment by consolidating facilities and reallocating district resources. And whereas Unified School District number 434, Osage County has determined that to better utilize staff, reduce operational costs, and integrate preschool students, the Scranton Preschool / District Administrative Center located at 104 South Burlingame Avenue, Scranton, Kansas, is no longer deemed necessary for educational and/or administrative purposes. Now therefore be it resolved by Unified School District number 434, Osage County, Kansas, that Scranton Preschool / District Administrative Center located at 104 South Burlingame Avenue, Scranton, Kansas, is no longer deemed necessary for educational or administrative purposes, and in accordance with Kansas law has directed its disposal.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor? Stephanie?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. That brings us to 9.3, approve 2026-2027 school calendar. Anybody have any questions or changes you'd like to make?
At this time, it's the recommendation of the committee, the calendar committee. We meet every year, have representation from each building. We went through this. Amy Hill guides us through our appropriate minutes that are mandated by the state and hours. And then we looked at our master calendar from last year, rolled over dates that we felt were appropriate to hold, kept a few pieces in there, such as the homecoming date, and then if we have any amendments to the calendar based on preschool screenings, those screenings are based on this or next year's dates that coincide with the current calendar we have. So if any of those change, I'll bring those amendments to you. Otherwise, the recommendation is what is in front of you.
Motion to approve the 26-27 calendar.
Okay.
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor? Stephanie?
Yes.
All right, 9.4, Mr. Lewis is asking us for approval of the service dog, correct?
Yeah, so before, Jess Lewis is an employee of Three Lakes Educational Cooperative. He is a special education teacher and a practicum school psych student right now. So he is being mentored to finalize his school psych degree. During that time, he has approached Three Lakes about getting a service dog that we can use in our school district for special education services. We already have 2 dogs that went through, I believe both went through the CARES program. Yeah, both CAMs went through the CARES program. This dog would also go through that same program. So Three Lakes wanted each board to first get approval before they approved it as a co-op to make sure you guys are okay with them coming in our schools and working with our students, but that it would be handled by one of Three Lakes employees.
This is just for approval to get the dog, right? Not
Yeah.
for budgeting or anything?
No, none of that's on us. That's all Three Lakes. They just wanted us to say we were okay with them moving forward with that for Three Lakes. Yes, we're not a part of it. They just want to make sure we were okay with the dog coming into our schools.
I'll make the motion to approve the service dog.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Stephanie?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you all.
All right, that brings us to a student matter. We need executive session. How much time would you need for that? 10 minutes? Okay. With Stephanie.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. President, I move we go into executive session to discuss confidential student information pursuant to the exception of agency actions adversely or favorably affecting the student under coma, and the open meeting will resume the gym at 9:08 with Faith Roy President and Stephanie Gang President Gibbon.
Okay, we have a motion. Second right here. All in favor? Stephanie?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. executive session. That brings us to 12.0, school security matters. We have how much time do we need for that?
15?
15 minutes, okay. Faith, will there be any action taken after this session?
No action.
Folks, just so you know, there'll be no action taken after this session.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. President, I move to go into executive session to discuss matters relating to information system security measures pursuant to the exception under COMA for school security matters to ensure the security of the school, its buildings, and/or its systems is not jeopardized in an open meeting or Zoom in the gym with Faith Flory, Andy Lohmeyer, and Faith Flory and Andy Lohmeyer present, and Stephanie Ganger present via phone, open meeting or Zoom in the gym at 9:27.
Okay, we have a motion. Second. All in favor?
Yeah.
That brings us to 13.0, our 3 next report. Amy, do you have anything you want to read us on this?
So we met last night, actually, so one day.
Can you turn your mic on, please?
Last night, we had interviews Tuesday, next week, so the 17th, for special ed director, so I will be there, Dave will be there. There's a combination of board members and superintendents.
You're doing all your interviews on the 17th?
Interviews will be during the day.
During the day?
At 3 Lakes and Linden.
Yeah.
And they'll provide tours, things like that. And we'll go through that process and KSB is the one keeping us on that.
Tell me that.
Yeah.
Any questions on the 3 next report? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.